Well, I mean, I haven't reacted to Pursuit of Wonder in like a little bit, like a few days, and that's saying something because I'm always reacting to Pursuit of Wonder. I always watch all the vids. These are really good videos. I like the commentary on them and the way that they're written, and you can tell like he's pretty good at doing this, right? The Robert guy, pretty sure he's the guy that's narrating all of this. I don't know if he does everything. Um, when I don't know if he's just doing it to be professional, but whenever he refers to the channel, he says we have uploaded a brand new video, as in like referencing that there might be more than one person involved in these videos. Maybe he doesn't do the edits, like the animations and stuff on that, but he maybe does the narrating, he writes it. Who knows? Because if he does it all, that's really impressive. That'd be really impressive to do all of this on your own. I mean, if he does do all this, he's goated. But who knows? I mean, even if he doesn't, he's still the GOAT. I have his book. Not much more needs to be said. Hopefully you guys are having an amazing day, night, wherever you are. You had an amazing day. And let's learn 3 thought experiments that no one can solve. Fuck it. Let's go.
Sponsored by the book summary app, Blinkist.
This is like
Use
the
the link in the
seventh-
description
this-
and receive 1 free week and 25%
He's
off.
been sponsored by them for like 17 videos in a row.
Premium
I love
membership.
It. I love it. I love the constant support.
Imagine a hallway containing 3 different rooms. In each room, there is a person being experimented on, a captive subject to a rogue clandestine operation headed by the world's greatest, most intelligent neuroscientist. This neuroscientist has been contracted by an intelligence agency group to research consciousness, perception, and intelligence, all in an effort to develop new understandings and technologies related to the mind. In each room,
Okay.
we find brains running experiments on brains.
Okay.
Experiments run on thought.
Wait, run that back? Run that back?
Mind. In each room, we find brains running experiments on brains.
Brains running experiment on brains. Yeah, that's the paradox of studying the brain in psychology, because you're using the very thing that you're studying to study the thing that you're studying. It's kind of a paradox. That's what I saw the comment. It's the top comment on the video.
Experiments run on thought.
Yes.
As we enter the hallway,
Most
we find
things run on
ourselves
thought,
at the first
yes.
room. The
Okay.
door is closed and locked.
Uh-huh.
Inside, there is a man named John.
Okay, what's
he
up,
is not
John?
allowed out, and no one is allowed in.
He's
He's
kind
been
of lonely.
completely isolated for some time,
He's very
provided
lonely.
food and water through a contactless delivery system.
That sucks.
A woman who works at the lab has now recently been instructed to begin periodically communicating with John by slipping him notes under his door. She is not
She's
told
goated.
anything else. She does not know who is in the room or why. One morning, after she begins following this instruction, John wakes up to a note in his room. He is both immediately curious and hopeful of what it might say. However, to great disappointment, when he picks it up to read it, he finds that it is written in Chinese.
Oh, you don't
a
know
language
Chinese?
He does not know at all.
Ah.
However, John
Hate
quickly
to see
notices
it.
that now also placed in his room are boxes full of papers, pencils, and erasers, as well as books containing comprehensive instructions for how to appropriately respond in Chinese to statements and questions the woman might write. In the books, John can locate and match the symbols the woman writes, and then write the relevant corresponding symbols that the book provides, facilitating a conversation. At first, John is confused, but desperate for social interaction, he soon engages with the woman, writing back notes according to the book's instructions. As time passes, the woman begins to like and then fall for John, believing she is communicating with a charismatic man who is fluent in Chinese. Of course, however,
Okay.
John has no idea what he is saying.
Ah.
In this experiment, referred to as the Chinese room,
So they don't teach him Chinese. They just teach him like responses in Chinese. They don't teach him what it means. Like he just has to find. Is the book itself in Chinese? So all he can do is find like matching letters that match with what she's writing, and then like is there like a sign pointing to another set of Chinese letters indicating that that's like the appropriate response or something? Is that what's going on?
we find the following question being asked. What does it mean to be intelligent? With the advent and rapid development of digital computing and artificial intelligence, the question concerning when or if a machine could be considered intelligent, able to think and possess an understanding, is only becoming increasingly relevant. If John can convince the woman he is intelligent or fluent
Aren't most computers intelligent already by most definitions?
in Chinese, based on what he outputs from the room, but can do so without ever actually understanding Chinese and what he is saying, then the output of John's behavior is not sufficient in qualifying him as intelligent, or in this case, possessing an actual understanding of what he is saying.
So he is a fraud.
And so,
He's not
likewise,
intelligent.
if a computer program can follow syntactic rules well enough to provide an output that can convince a person that it is thinking and fully understanding, that does not necessarily mean that it is. This experiment challenges the philosophical positions known as functionalism and computationalism. Functionalism arguing that mental states are to be identified by what they do rather than by what they are made of, and computationalism arguing that the mind is an information processing system and consciousness is merely a form of computation. According to the Chinese rooms proposition, however, for intelligence of mind to actually exist, there needs to be understanding, which is inevitably always missing from a digital computer.
So real understanding, and computers as of today's date couldn't possibly grasp, like they couldn't ever get the full grasp of understanding. Like, of course, to understand something, would you need to be like a agent? What do you call an animal? An animal? What's something that at least an animal has? Because an animal can have an understanding of something. I don't think you need to just be a human to have an understanding. Like, animals have understandings of a lot of things. So what do you classify them other than just animal? Like, they're sort of intelligent. I mean, technically they're kind of intelligent, right? They have intelligence, not like sort of on our level, but they have definitely some sort of intelligence. So would a machine need to be sentient? Would a machine need to be conscious? Would it need to have some level of consciousness for it to be labeled intelligent? Because a machine is only really doing what it's programmed to do. So how can you say that a machine doesn't understand? Well, there's a lot of implications there. There's a lot of implications.
This poses the question, though, what constitutes understanding? Obviously, John understanding Chinese or not is essentially binary, but can John still understand what he is doing in the situation without understanding Chinese? In other words, does John's understanding of the fact that he is intaking and sending out messages in Chinese still constitute some form of understanding? On what level is a computational system required to understand what it is doing for it to be considered sufficient enough for intelligence? Is it a total, comprehensive understanding that is required? A partial understanding in a specific way? How does one determine this? How does one verify it? After all, do we, as humans, really understand what we mean even when we know what we are saying? Ultimately, if the door to John's room was suddenly...
Repeat that?
Even when we... After all, do we, as humans, really understand what we mean even when we know what we are saying? Ultimately, if the door to John's room was suddenly opened and the woman saw John showing emotion and effort as he wrote his responses down from the instruction books, clearly understanding not the language but the significance of it, his role in the exchange, would this change things? Would the woman still find him worthy of love and possessing of a sufficient enough understanding to be intelligent? Likewise,
How they having sex through letters, bro? These motherfuckers are fucking. They're fucking through letters. They're like. So you know this is how to sexting. What's the version for writing? Well, they both end in ting. They're technically sexting. And then that's how they're falling in love. He's got the fucking major riz, bro. Because for her to not even see this man. Okay, we gotta play along though, because like, where is this happening? Why is this girl just passing papers underneath, and how is she gonna fall in love with this man? Like, so she's just been tasked. She probably doesn't even know much. Could you say she's intelligent? Does she even know why she's passing papers? She's just been told by somebody to pass papers underneath the door. And now she's in love with the guy? Just because he's responding in Chinese? I need to get that book. Where can I get that book where you get what somebody says and then a response to that and have them fall in love with you? I need that book. Not in Chinese though, for English.
Functioned as if it understood, behaved as if it did, and made the explicit claim that it felt as though it did, all based on a program's code. Do we believe it?
Robots
How
have
do we treat
claimed
it?
that they...
What are the ethics now needed? As we move further down the hall, in the next room, there is a woman named Mary. Mary has been contained in this room ever since she was born, completely closed off from the rest of the world. No one has gone in, and she has never been let out. She has been communicated with exclusively through an intercom system. Inside the room, there is no color, and there never has been. It is completely black and white. Her skin and hair have all been modified and dyed black, white, and gray. Through a delivery system, she has only been given food and drink, completely dyed with black and white food coloring. The only other things in the room that she has been given to pass the time are books and research papers, all also in black and white. Contained inside the books and papers is all of the known knowledge on one subject: color perception. Without having ever seen a color in her entire life, Mary has become an expert on color. She knows everything there is to know: the physics of it, the process by which different wavelengths of light stimulate the retina in the eye, how it triggers different electrical signals that affect neural activity in the brain, and how the brain interprets these signals into conscious experiences in the forms of different color perceptions. Soon, however, the door to Mary's room will be opened, and she will be let out. For the first time in her life, she will see color firsthand. The question this experiment will then ask is, when Mary leaves the room, will she learn anything new about color?
Fuck yeah!
If she already possesses and understands all of the known...
Oh, please.
Soon...
The more you know, the more you realize how much you don't know, though. Like, you can say that you have, 18 years of comprehensive knowledge on nothing but one subject? We've never seen anything like that before. I don't think anybody's ever run that kind of test. You know, so you'd need to see it. But it's like, aside from her being super fucking bored, likely wouldn't have 18 years of... Is there even 18 years of material to study one thing? There's like infinite years technically. If you get all of it, there's no bounds to how long you could study one thing. But that's all theoretical, though. That's all theoretical knowledge. It's not technically practical, or what do they call it? Like real knowledge or real world, real experience, like experience knowledge. It's all theoretical. You're not actually putting it into implementing it and seeing it in real time. You know, that's one of the beautiful things about experimentation and seeing your theories play out. But all she has is the theory part. So of course, when she actually fucking sees it, this is going to be the first time her senses perceive color. So she's going to see something new. There's something new going on. She's going to learn. She may have ideas of what something might be like, but she doesn't know what the fuck it really looks like. Right? If there was no color in the book, if it was all just describing like the physics of color, like wavelengths and maybe how different shades, grade, whatever. I don't know what the fuck a book like that might have.
However, the door to Mary's room will be opened, and she will be let out. For the first time in her life, she will see color firsthand.
This is new.
The question this experiment will then ask is, when Mary leaves the room, will she learn anything new about color?
Absolutely.
If she already possesses and understands all of the known knowledge on color perception, is there still something unknown to her contained in experiencing it firsthand via the eye?
Of course.
This experiment, referred to as Mary's Room, attempts to demonstrate what is known as the knowledge argument, which is the claim that there are truths related to conscious experience that cannot be described or known by mere knowledge of physical facts. In other words, there is a property of knowledge and understanding that can only be found through first-hand conscious experience, which, according to the argument, extends beyond the mere physicality of the experience. This argues against the theory known as physicalism, which is the counter view that argues that everything in the universe, including mental states, is physical with physical explanations. The belief that Mary will experience and learn something novel when seeing color for the first time might seem obvious, but if she does, what exactly is it that is new? If the experience is tied to something physical, she, at least theoretically, should have already known. If it is not physical, what is it? Is it the mental state?
Well, she's never seen it before. She's been in theory. Of course it's something new. She's really experiencing it and having those wavelengths actually go through your fucking eye. Just because you knew about them, knew about the physics of it all doesn't change the fact that they've never done that before. And you're genuinely learning. Okay, that's what red looks like. Oh, okay. So that right there looks like what was described in that book. That right there looks like what blue should be. There's blue. I didn't know that. There you go. See, you learn something when you see it.
It felt by the color, but what is being felt other than the physical state in the brain that the color produces in the form of a mental state, which again, Mary should have, or at least could have, already known. If she knows all the characteristics of a mental state through knowledge, wouldn't she already know how it feels?
No.
Perhaps then, this experiment is and will remain...
That's like asking me if I know what sex feels like because I've watched porn for 18 years. Like, that's really how it be for a lot of people. Like, everybody's been watching porn, man. Come on. That's not real sex. Are you learning something new? Of course you're learning something new. I didn't know what it would feel like to have somebody sucking my dick. Like, I'm not getting that from fucking porn. Like, that's what you're asking right now. Of course she's learning something new.
Restricted by the limits...
I don't, like... Unless if it's just like a language problem, like you're gonna say something because of like the logistics and like the complications of having it be like rigidly, really specifically confined to the definition of gaining new knowledge. Wherein you could probably play about like, well, is there new knowledge being gained if she already knew how it works? It's like, okay, that is only a thought experiment that can't be solved because it's sort of like crumbles in on itself based on our definitions of things. Like, I feel like it can't because it's sort of it gets a paradox to ask that. Because you can't really answer that if you're being too rigid, if the problem is aligning that to, okay, her seeing color for the first time to knowledge, connect those two, right? If you can't do that because of definitions, like, oh, it doesn't necessarily meet the definitions of what new knowledge is, which I don't think he's made on a case for. Like, I haven't seen a thorough case for that. Like, yeah, she might know what it, whatever, but she's never seen the colors before. It's like, yeah, you watch porn, it's nothing like having real sex. It's just not real sex. And there's something to be learned from that, right? Am I crazy? Am I stupid?
And knowledge itself. Perhaps rather than any ineffable quality of subjective conscious experience, Mary will demonstrate that language as a vehicle of thought and understanding is simply far too limited to get near the mental state equivalent to first-hand experience. But nonetheless, theoretically, with advanced enough language, it would be possible. As we move down to the end of the hallway, in the final room is you. Your brain currently floats in a stasis tube of nutrient solution. Wires are implanted into it and plugged into a machine that actively processes and stimulates all of your brain's nerve impulses. Everything you are experiencing right now is mapped, modeled, and created by this machine. Your brain being stimulated into sequences of various mental states that reproduce your regular perceptions. You are not in the world as you think you are. You are not in your body. You are not physically encountering any various mental states.
This better not go to, are you really experiencing something if there's a electrical circuit giving you that feeling.
That reproduce your regular perceptions. You are not in the world as you think you are. You are not in your body. You are not physically encountering any environment through any senses. Your memory is actively being altered and updated to create cohesive...
Not physically okay, physically is just one thing. Physically encountering. Are you not? If I'm doing what I'm doing right now, but my brain is in a tube somewhere, I wouldn't know that. How is this not physical encounter? I only knew about the word physical or the phrase physical encounter. I only gained knowledge about such things through this realm. Therefore, those things are sort of limited to this realm, no? Like, those things can't escape this. Like, they can't talk about something that's not here. Like, we have given the definition to what is here, you know? Not something that is just theoreticized about out there. The meaning of physical is this. I'm touching my hands. I can touch my mic. It better not go there. Because if that's the case, then yeah, you're still experiencing, like, it's a real thing. If this was all, like, let's see.
In the story you imagine about yourself, body, you are not physically encountering any environment through any senses.
Okay.
Your memory is actively being altered and updated to create cohesiveness in the story you imagine about yourself in order to make this illusion completely and constantly believable.
Oh, shit.
Of course, all of these are just thought experiments, but the point of this last one is to pose the question, how can you know for sure? How can you know that all of the aforementioned, the vat, the lab, the neuroscientist, and so on, isn't actually happening right now, and what you think is happening right now actually isn't? What can you really know with certainty to be true? Can you be certain that anything exists outside your mind? Can you be certain of the nature and conditions of your mind? Can you be certain your senses are not deceiving you, that you are awake and not dreaming?
I mean, senses deceive you all the time. Let's be real. I mean, I couldn't answer that question fully, because it goes into things that I'm not built to answer that question. But technically, I'm not supposed to care. Like, this is all the life that I've known. I mean, sometimes I look at other people and I think, are they real? Like, this is a person having a real conscious experience that I've never consciously experienced. I've only ever been able to consciously experience myself and learned about the idea of a conscious experience and the definitions that people have set up for it, and how I can connect to that definition, being like, oh, okay, so I think I have that, right? I think that makes sense to me because I sense or I feel something like that definition of consciousness, so I'm guessing I have consciousness. And then I go and I'm like, these other motherfuckers really do too? Like, how different must that be? Like, they're in a whole different universe than I am. They're living in a whole different world than me. You know, they're just not me. It's like, it feels like you're the only real one sometimes. You know, like, you can't help but not feel it. I mean, especially nowadays, when you got shit like computers that will give you this concept of NPCs and people not being real and stuff like that. Like, it's just kind of crazy. Of course, I don't think people are NPC. Like, I'm not somebody that thinks that I'm the main character. That would be shocking. Like, that would be awful. Oh, God. I would hope I'm not the only main character. Because I want these people to be real so much. I want them to be conscious. I want them to be self-aware. Like, I love me a self-aware person. You know? Like, it's beautiful. It's... Oh, my God. It's so great. It's just so great. But it's like... Oh my God, I'm a fucking monkey. How can I know that? Does a monkey know it's a monkey? Does a monkey think about and introspect on being a monkey and what it feels like to be a monkey? Do they, like, question if any other monkeys are real? And if they really also have a brain and a conscious experience that I could never get outside, I could never experience it? I could never know what it's like to be them from their perspective, because I'm a perspective that has only come out of one sperm, like one feet. Like, I'm limited to my body in a sense, you know? I am limited to the shit that's encapsulated in me. So I could never really hope to go outside, despite what Sadhguru says about yoga. I mean, I'm not denying it or anything. It's just like, I could never hope to, like, really grasp what it's like to be anybody else. So sometimes I wonder, no, I don't wonder, am I the only real one? But I wonder if other people are real. I don't say it in such a way as in, like, am I the only real one? I wonder if sometimes they're really real. Because some people you just see, they're just stupid, man. Like, that's an oversimplification, but they're just so dumb. There's so many biases. They don't, oh man, I can't. And I'm not free from that either. I'm not free from no bias. It's just like, I'm so much more open-minded now, and it's like, I watch this stuff, and I'm curious. I love learning about thought experiments and consciousness and the universe and stuff like that. And it's like, other motherfuckers are out here doing what? Yeah, getting ran through, not even making real connections, no talking about anything deep, no connecting. People aren't doing this shit, man. Like, are you motherfuckers real? You motherfuckers just, like, you feel like they're lacking a main component. You feel like they're just more monkey than you sometimes. But that's, of course, a bias that I'm gonna have, since I'm only ever allowed to be here. Of course, I'm gonna think that they're more monkey than me, because they're just walking monkeys to me. They're not consciously experiencing the world like I am. Like to my brain, if I didn't know that they were conscious, of course they're conscious. I'm not saying that they're not, but it's like to a individual subjectively looking out there, everything out there is an object. It's subjective. So all of them are just like walking monkeys. Of course, you understand fundamentally, like no doubt. I don't doubt that. Some people doubt that. Before I've had my doubts, maybe, but like subjectively, you can only see out there as objective because it's not you, So you see it as like monkeys. It's like, oh, here's a walking, talking, conscious monkey, but it's still a walking, talking, conscious monkey. Though I technically see myself as that because I fit in that category, but it's different for me, It's like, well, I am also that, but I'm in this motherfucker. Like, I'm really in this dude right here. And sometimes I look in the mirror, I'm like, I'm in this dude. I remember, like, you play some really good music that'll get you in the mood for this, like some like exploring space like playlist on Spotify. Sometimes, well, no, I usually do that for when I'm like contemplating the universe and like just being grateful and really loving the beauty of nature. It's beautiful. But also sometimes I'm just like, I'm moving my hands, right? I'm conscious, and I'm moving them. And lucky, it's so easy to move them. It's like I don't even have to really think about moving them. It's like I'm moving them. I feel like I'm moving them. Like it's on like a lower level of I'm moving my, because it's almost like I'm not consciously moving them. It's like there's no effort being put into me moving my hands right now. It's like, but on a lower level, I can feel like it's really me controlling them. Right? It's like, look, I'm wiggling my fingers. Like, I can feel that nerve impulse. I can feel, like, some shit here. I can feel it, right? I'm moving it. But when you don't see the neurons, shit going, all this shit connected to that, it's like, it feels a little bit weird. It's like, holy fuck, look at this. I have function. I'm conscious and I'm alive and I can move something for some reason. I can move this for some reason. How can I move this? It's like sometimes you get into that, right? Man, let me stop talking. I talk too much.
Can you be certain your senses are not deceiving you, that you are awake and not dreaming, that you are in the real world and not a simulation or a vat? Isn't the only thing you can be certain of is that you are somewhere, somehow, in something, existing as a thinking thing? Since all your abilities to think and know occur exclusively inside your mind, there is no way for you to ever step out of it to know or prove of anything else.
Huh?
Thing. Since all your abilities to think and know occur exclusively inside your mind, there is no way for you to ever step out of it to know or prove of anything else.
Yeah, that's basically what I was saying, yeah.
All of the ideas and questions found in this hallway of thought experiments, the Chinese room created by John Searle in 1980, Mary's room created by Frank Jackson in 1982, and the brain in a vat created by Gilbert Harman in 1973, inspired by Rene Descartes' evil demon, reveal the inherent difficulty of understanding the mind from within the mind. They reveal how little we truly know about what makes us who we are. They reveal the potential limits of thought, language, and knowledge as vehicles fast and powerful enough to transcend the bounds of their origins.
Woo! Give me that word, transcending. It's like, get me far away from being I want to feel superior to just being an animal sometimes, It's like, it's like I'm an animal, but a bonus. I'm buffed. I'm like mega buffed. I'm meta buffed. We're the meta, It's like, fuck, how am I alive and I'm just a meta human? Like I'm a meta animal in the fucking game of life, right? In the tier list. I have fucking consciousness. I haven't watched Our Humans OP. I'm gonna go watch that right now. We're probably OP, man. Like, how is that fair? Like, what is this? How was you're telling me I came out of the nuts at my dad? Like, come on, dog. I don't even fuck with my dad like that. Like, I don't fuck with him heavy. Of course, I love my dad and all, but like, I don't like his personality at all. It's like, I really came out that dude. It's like, and I was a nut, like, sperm, and then I got picked, technically, right? People are saying it's not just winning the race, you get picked, technically, into an egg, and then a fetus is developed, and then I was that thing, and then through that development, I developed consciousness where I can be sitting here now, 18 years later, like talking and about like self-conscious. Is that just a paradox? Is it like we're just making something up? Like, is there nothing special there? Is this just like a weird thing that happens when you get to a certain level of intelligence and self-awareness? Like, is it really... I'm not saying it's technically special. Like, I can see how it's possible that it might just be, like, a genuinely evolutionary thing. But it's like... It feels special, you know? To be self-aware. It feels so unique and, like... You feel like a god. Because you can study the cosmos, man. No other animal studying... Like, how is that fair? How is that a thing? How can we even conceptualize all of the stuff that we conceptualize? Morals, ethics. How can I even say that it's not fair for what happens down here with animals? Like, what about the fucking... Like, dude, what is this? Look at the universe. Like, look, we're coming out of the universe. Something in the universe gains where that's dead ass the only explanation. Like, we're forced to agree with Alan Watts because he's not wrong. Where the universe listening to its own symphonies, where the universe looking back at itself, exploring itself, discovering and like studying itself. You know, I know it might be like a technicality thing, but it's like it's there's a connection, dude. Like, if you are to believe science, there's literally a connection. Like, we all come from the bellies of stars or stardust, whatever. But it's like... It just feels so different to be human. But it also feels like we can conceive of something even higher that we don't yet achieve. But it's like we're still so special, you know? And then that brings about consequences, like me not knowing what the fuck... Because I have the ability to question it, but there's no answers because I'm really sort of mainly just built for survival reasons. I'm not built to question this stuff. I'm not built to ponder about the universe, technically. You know? I'm just built for survival, and it's so limiting, because it's like, damn, I kind of want to be able to do more. Now that I understand what more even is. It's like, now that I have a fully understanding of what I can do and my limits of my capabilities, even though they're so awesome, they're the greatest out of the animal kingdom, maybe I'd want more. Or maybe I don't know.
Perhaps most beautifully, they reveal the brain's desire and ability to try anyway, to experiment with itself in novel ways, and to use the material of its own thinking to try to manufacture new vehicles capable of doing so, of reaching try anyway,
distracted.
to experiment with itself in novel ways, and to use the material of its own thinking to try to manufacture new vehicles capable of doing so, of reaching into new realms of the unknown.
Beautiful. Now it's just an ad for Blinkist.
This video was sponsored by Blinkist. Consciousness is an utterly perplexing place to exist. Likely ever since the first brain realized it was a brain, it has long since struggled to
That can't be a thing. There's no first brain that can realize it's a brain. That's not possible. That's just not possible that there was a first brain that was self-aware. That can't come from a fetus. A fetus can't come from parents that are not self-aware and suddenly become self-aware. Well, it wouldn't be a baby. It would be... Yeah. Because if it's an evolutionary thing, it wouldn't be a baby. Like, oh, parents are stupid, but kid is not. It would happen in real time. You develop consciousness, maybe just going for a stroll with a friend a few million years ago. You know? It's like you develop self-awareness just walking through or over time, because most of the things are like habits and it's like they take time. But through time, you're slowly gaining more self-awareness. And then you hit a limit, or you just get to a point wherein we can define it as self-awareness. We can define it as such. And technically, we probably couldn't get anything higher because we're thinking of it like on a scale or a line, and it's not like we're right here. It's like it's just self-awareness. It's not like you can place it anywhere on a line of self-awareness, I don't think. Because then if that was the case, why wouldn't we have more self-awareness? Or what if we do? What if some people do have more what if I have more self-awareness? Nah, I'm playing.
Make sense of what this is, of who we are. Philosophers and scientists seemingly lack any real certainty about how and why consciousness works. Why does the brain produce the experience of self? Is it a primary function or an emergent property? Is consciousness
Fuck! Man,
unique to human?
the way science talks about shit is just so boring. So boring. Like, oh, I just have a greater ability to be self-aware for the sake of people liking me. For the sake of getting along with others. And I don't even have that many friends. If I'm this self-aware, let me have every friend ever then. Let me at least get the benefits that I was fucking given it for. Fuck. If that's really what it just is. Come on, dog. Go greater self-awareness so you can conform. Wouldn't that mean I would be more conforming than everybody else? I don't conform. I'm not a conforming motherfucker just because I'm self-aware. Get the fuck out of here. You act like it's all just for fucking friends. Like, oh, I'm just... you're just more self-aware so you can develop stronger relationships and have more friends. And then that's useful for your survival.
Humans? If so, why? If not, how vast is it? And how do physical states in matter produce subjective personal experiences at all?
Maybe I'm not self-aware. Maybe that's why I don't have that many
All of these
friends.
questions and more are discussed, challenged, and responded to in Annika Harris's book, Conscious, which you can find a succinct yet comprehensive summary of on the book summary app, Blinkist.
Bro, I don't have
Blinkist
that money.
works by
I don't have that money, but I want to see it somewhere else. I'll try to read it. Conscious. I'm interested. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Saw this. You guys can read it if you want. If you want to pause, if you're interested. If you made it to the end, actually. If you have, you're the GOAT. I mean, you're just the best ever, to be honest with you. Like, you deserve a medal for real. For real. I'll see you guys later. Take care, man. And keep being conscious. Please be conscious. Please be real people. Don't be NPCs, please. Please be real. Please be self-aware. Right? Be conscious that you're self-aware.